Since you've been hired, the Cardano community has changed drastically. It really just started with, Stakepool operators. It felt like a lot of the community was Stakepool operators and investors. And since you've been hired, there has been, NFT projects now. And with Alonzo, we've also had dApps building, DEXs, and you have Liquid launching soon. How has, your vision of the community and building the community changed after it not just being SPOs anymore? Now it's, all of these different, dApps and aspects. So how has your, how has that changed? Your vision of building the community and also maintaining it.
So community is like the advancement and development of relationships. It's relationships between people all the way down. So to some degree, it's an emergent effect. So my job is to try and find the gaps and the paths where I can, add the synapses in the brain, right? So I can help people understand what it is that they care about and help other groups understand those groups. So it's like 4D chess. It's really interesting. And some more tangible aspects of that is, we build a email digest for SPOs, 2,300 SPOs are in there, and we have a regular monthly touch points where we can talk to them. So when I say it's an emergent effect, I need to keep discovering and understanding my people, right? I have to understand. I can't take a snapshot of you today and think that that's the answer. It's not the answer. It's a continuous process. If you were to stop that process, you lose the value. It's that I can keep reporting on the direction and momentum of what all of you are doing, right? So it's like observing. The Dev Digest now is over 20,000 developers. And if you look at that, 70% of that came from pioneers and people that wanted to kind of get educated and learn how to code. But then you also have dApp projects and teams. And so that's like a different type of community, So then we built dApp Orbit. Part of that is being able to spot it. So it's a social listening process, but also we need to build relationships with one-to-one calls. And I don't do everything, obviously. We have a one-to-one call to understand, do the people show up, what have they got to say, and then we can introduce them to like commercial or further than that. But you'll see the output of that on LinkedIn, on Tim Harrison. We'll post the infographics. We're over 1,000 projects now, maybe over half of them are like NFTs. But I think you could look at NFTs, one, is a really interesting space, but two, where are people that are going to build? And Simon Sinek, we talked about this, Simon Sinek talks about why, which is purpose, right? But what's more of a motivating factor is play, right? That's one level above. If you're having fun and it's play and it's creative, then that's much more motivating. So I make an argument maybe that NFTs are also somewhere where people start to build and play around with, right? So it's the beginning of it's one beginning, one path for people who want to build to get involved, right? So when I look at NFTs being like, I don't know, 500 projects, give or take, right? Those are 500 projects where those developers may go on to build other things, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and a lot of people have this idea of NFT projects as solely being JPEGs and speculating, where I've actually seen NFT projects that start out as just being JPEGs, but then they start building. I actually saw shout out to Dirtbirds. I did a podcast with them a while ago, and they actually were one of the first to build multi-sig. So you have some NFT projects on Cardano building open source tools that may a DeFi project could use in the future. So while there is 500 NFT projects, there are some of those out there that are building real infrastructure that we can all use. But I really appreciate you coming on me for this short little interview. Is there anything that you want to say before we head out of here for today?
I guess the two things, one, like Lena was working with me on my team, and then she went on to do Claymates, so that was kind of cool. And also like looking ahead, what I want to do, we talked about 15 services that we deliver to the business. Those are services sort of that serve a mature ecosystem, right? So a very large ecosystem, there's a lot of different players. And I think where I want to spend my time coming up is minimum viable community. I want to talk about all these different app projects. If they have motivated, intelligent, young community managers that they're bringing in, those community managers don't have the experience. So if we could put a course together where 2, 3, 4 community managers from different projects could come together, so it's an experience, they're building relationships, and then we walk them through a community life cycle, which is conception, incubation, establishment, maturity, maybe mitosis, so it becomes an ecosystem because the communities fragment, right? I'd want to walk community managers through that. What are the right questions? I'm not giving them the answer. What are the right questions in the right order? Let's walk through that together. And the second important thing is helping those community managers understand how to report to leadership, right? And how to build trust with technical teams. Because I came from the bottom. I mean, I literally just came in through bounties originally for a different project. And so I understand that if you're a busy guy, you may think I've got good ideas, but I'm going to lose you if I can't give you the information you need quickly and concisely. So I want to do two things with that project. I want to bring those community managers through, and I want to get 100, 200 projects through that community course. And I think that could be industry defining, because we open source it and we can all learn from each other, and it's a community of community builders. And you don't have to go out, like, what's the resource to talent pool for excellent community managers, right? Well, that's what we can improve, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to in 2023.